let's get to the running back position because there was a couple interesting ones here. And the big one being 4 years, $25 million, 13 million of the 25 fully guaranteed to Miles Sanders to go to Carolina. How do we feel about Miles Sanders in Carolina? I would have to assume that he would take on a bell cow role for the Panthers because the next best guy is Chuba Hubbard, and the money that he got paid is kind of bell cow money.
Yeah, man. He's going to use a wrestling term. He's getting a push. He's getting a push in Carolina. Um, he he's not C-Mac at all, like at all. But
No.
I was kind of a little bit worried about him when the Eagles let him go. But this contract in this market in Carolina, I definitely think he's going to get the opportunity. But just like with Darren Waller, can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy
This
long enough to produce?
this felt like best case scenario for Miles Sanders, in my opinion.
He'll possibility for a huge uptick. They don't even have a wide receiver right now. Their best wide receiver is what? Terrace Marshall?
Yeah.
Like,
And they
they
don't
don't
have
have a
draft
wide
picks.
receiver right now. And they don't have draft picks. So now you got a running back who's gonna be the primary runner and possibly the primary receiver. So
Probably the best guy on the team.
yeah. I think I'm
At
gonna
least on
take him off the
offense.
trade. If you had Miles and you had him on the trade block because you knew his Eagles career is coming towards the end, go ahead and take him off the trade block.
Yeah, this was best case scenario. I went in, I don't know if you saw it. I was on vacation, and that news hit, and I knew that he was on B-Dub's trade block. And I said, you know what? Let me go over there and see what I could get for him. And I just went over. I knew B-Dub had been asking me for a month for Wandale Robinson and Odell Beckham. And I said, I would just throw both of them over there and see if he'll accept it for Miles Sanders. Well, he did. And I got Miles Sanders for Wandale and OBJ. And so yeah, go see if you can get
You
Miles
know, B
Sanders.
Dub gonna see this and he gonna defend. He gonna be like, "Yeah, man, nah, man, Miles Sanders trash."
He
He
already
gonna be
did.
throwing
He
all
already
the
did.
dirt. Oh, yeah, gonna
He
throw
already
all the
did.
dirt on Miles Sanders.
Because Brandon was getting on him in the chat, and B-Dub was like, OBJ about to go to the Chiefs, and he said Miles Sanders trash. He was trash for the Eagles, and this is the worst football team, so he's gonna be trash for the Panthers. He said a worse O line, like he was just talking trash. But I said, hey, I just want you to like the deal because I like the deal. I just want you to like it because I like it. But
Yeah, yeah.
I ended up getting Miles Sanders. I can't hate on it. But your boy David Montgomery ended up going to play for the Lions. So, I always hate when somebody in the division ends up going to play for another team in the division, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty significant contract. It's 3 years, $18 million. 11 of it was guaranteed. How do we feel about David Montgomery on the Lions? Because there's two questions that I have really about it. Is one, is David Montgomery going to be an upgrade to Jamal Williams? And then two, how significant is this to DeAndre Swift?
Oh man, I see somewhere. I think it could have been Pro Football Focus or something. Where they were saying that you want to go after Swift and Montgomery. Like I couldn't disagree more. I think it hurts both of them. I don't think I've watched David Montgomery for years. David Montgomery, let me tell you, he is a hard worker. I feel like him in the locker room is a bigger boost than him on the football field. Yes, he's a
Okay.
capable running back, but I don't necessarily know if he's Jamal Williams. Because if he was Jamal Williams, he would have been doing Jamal Williams things last year. Because instead of getting his lunch taken by Khalil Herbert, um, so when you think about that, it's like, okay, well, yeah, the Bears had one of the worst offensive lines. Yes, they did. But they had the top rushing offense in the NFL. And yeah, it had a lot to do with Justin Fields. But David Montgomery, in my opinion, was like third on the reasons why they had the offense. behind Fields and behind Herbert. Herbert just looked more explosive. David Montgomery is not explosive at all. He's a east to west runner. Uh, he'll get you about 3.5 yards per carry. I just don't think he's going to replicate Jamal Williams. And as far as Swift is concerned, I think that if I'm DeAndre Swift, I'm thinking, damn, these guys really just don't believe in me. Just don't believe in me. So, like, from an emotional standpoint, if I'm Swift, I'm not feeling good about this at all. Like, yeah, maybe I'll produce the same or a little bit more with Montgomery there. But at the same time, like, how many of these guys, like, you couldn't even bring in a less profound running back. You get what I'm saying? Like, they could
Yeah,
have brought in somebody like,
James
I can't
Robinson.
think of James Robinson. That's perfect. They could have brought in James Robinson, where at least the fan base and NFL fans alike would have looked at like, okay, Swift is the number one guy. But instead, you brought in a guy that was for sure viewed as the number one guy in Chicago last year. So I'm not high on Swift and I'm not high on Montgomery. And I'm not
And
saying that because
arguably,
Montgomery's a traitor. I'm just saying.
yeah, and I would say arguably Monty was one of probably the top 5 free agent backs overall, period. Like, you brought in one of the top free agents and paid him top 2 money at the position in free agency so far.
After remember I told you after Jacobs resigned and Saquon resigned, I kind of looked at him as like the top running back on in the market. I feel like, for
Him and
example, I feel
Miles.
like him signing to Carolina. I look at it like this: him and Miles were 1A, 1B. If
Yep.
Montgomery signed to Carolina, we would have been saying the same things, minus the possibilities as a receiver. We would have said,
Yeah.
"Oh yes, an uptick for Monty." If Miles signed to Detroit, we would have been like, "Okay, Swift, you're probably feeling down right now." So I mean, they signed a running back to not even keep the perception that Swift is still the number one running back. I'm not buying Swift. I'm not drafting Swift. Yeah, no. Like Swift at this point, both Swift and Monty could be my number 3 running back. That's like the best. They're right in the same boat with Alvin Kamara. You guys could be number 3 running backs. And because we didn't talk about that, because we didn't get to that yet, but we will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess with that being said, man, I kind of agree to the point of where, like, I've also seen the PFFs and some of the other people saying that, like, oh, now is that perfect opportunity to go buy low on DeAndre Swift. And I'm like, man, I'm just getting the vibe that DeAndre Swift season isn't ever coming. Like, we keep saying, like,
Oh,
oh, it's DeAndre Swift season, and it's like, I don't think it's coming, man. Like, at
it's
this
been like
point,
2, 3 years.
yeah, at this point, like, we're going into year 3 of the contract. He only has 1 year left after this. Like, I'm like, you know how I look at it, and I'm like, I want to have the running backs on their rookie deal on my dynasty roster, and I'm looking at it like, okay, now I got to deal with David Montgomery for the last 2 years of DeAndre Swift's rookie deal, and then he's gone. And it's like, we're never gonna get the bell cow full usage. Like, we're never getting that out of DeAndre Swift. And at this point, I think if you have people who believe in DeAndre Swift, because there are DeAndre Swift stands out here. And if you have people that believe in him, call them today, sell them. Just sell them to them because they're willing to pay a decent dime for them, and just sell them, man. I do not want DeAndre Swift on my roster at this point because it is just not worth the price, or the value of
No.
what he's worth is going to outweigh the production. Like, he's worth more than he will produce at this point. And at that point,
Yeah.
I'm out. And we do have a comment in here, and I do want to say, because he says Swift or Kamara, and I know I just went on a whole rant. I know I just went on a
Oh
whole rant
man.
about it, but
They're like
at this
twins right
point,
now.
yeah, I mean, both of them have value dips,
Jesus
but
Christ.
I do think that, based on the age of DeAndre Swift and the age of Alvin Kamara, I do lean DeAndre Swift here,
Me too.
and I think it's
Yeah.
just because the value is there, and you can hold Swift, and hope that in that second contract that he gets with a new team, hopefully that he's going to be able to give you 1 or 2 seasons before he's 26, 27 years old, where he can produce RB1 numbers, hopefully, if he goes and gets a bigger contract. But I just think we're at the end of Alvin Kamara. And so if I'm looking at both of these assets in the same bubble, I'm taking the guy who has a longer shelf life and has more potential to get better. I just don't think Kamara can get better at this point.
You know what? Honestly, I would move Kamara and a mid draft pick at this point
For
if I
Swift.
could get Swift. I just Swift. You one guy's older and punched the guy out and bragged about it on camera. Um, I'm going with
Yeah.
Swift.
So
And I'm a Kamara owner, so
would you
at this
trade
point. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, would you trade Kamara in a 23 second for Swift?
I will if it's a
I would.
low. If it's you said you wouldn't.
I would. I would.
Yeah. If it's a low second, yes. But I would definitely be trying to convince the person I'm trading with to take my third. I'll definitely be trying to. I'll be trying to say my third and my fourth. Like I'll me. I'll try to keep all the second round picks.
Would you
Um,
do a 24 second? If it was 24, does that change it?
yeah, I would do a 24 second. I would do a 24 second to trade Kamara because, like I said, dude, at this point, I'm looking at Kamara like I have a team where I have Joe Mixon, Kamara, Miles Sanders, Javante Williams, and I have somebody else that doesn't come to mind right now. I'm looking at Kamara as a flex at this point because nobody will trade for him, and I can't get anything for him. So I'm just like, okay, I can just look at you as like, who are you playing this week? Here, let me plug you here in the flex spot. I can't look at him as a 1 or 2 anymore.
Okay. I pulled up Keep Trade Cut. It's consensus. It's community rankings, right? People vote on it. It kind of gives you a lay of the land, how people view other players. I'm gonna name you 4 or 5 guys that are ranked just below DeAndre Swift, and you tell me if you would trade Swift for that player straight up. So,
Yeah.
would you do Swift for Deontay Johnson?
Yes.
Would you do Swift for Derrick Henry?
Yes. And this is from the standpoint of me being a person trading Swift.
You're trading Swift away for this player.
Yes.
Okay. Would you do Swift for Calvin Ridley?
I would.
Would you do Swift for Amari Cooper?
No, I don't like Amari Cooper.
And last one, would you do Swift for Miles Sanders?
No. Believe it or not, no. I want Miles Sanders I want Panthers Miles Sanders. I
Okay.
want fake
So
I want fake Christian McCaffrey Miles Sanders over Swift. Yes.
okay, so 4 of those 5 guys, you said you would just trade Swift for them. The only one you said you wouldn't was Amari Cooper. So
Yeah.
that's some deals that if you do have Swift and you're like, I don't want to be a part of this roller coaster anymore, you could trade him for a couple of those guys and send out some offers and see what happens. But I definitely would be more than fine swapping Swift for Deontay Johnson right now. Like that feels like a really good trade for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about Jamal Williams because we just kind of left the Lions, but he ends up going to the Saints, 3-year, $12 million. 8 million of that's going to be guaranteed, potential out after 2 years. But at least for the next 2 years, Jamal should be a significant piece of that running back rotation. And do you like Jamal Williams here in New Orleans?
Here's what I'll say, because I'm going to say a little bit about what this does for Jamal and what this does for Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
I like Jamal Williams as the Saints running back. I honestly do believe that he may even get similar. It might, if it's not a 50-50 split, I think that it's going to be Jamal Williams getting more carries than Alvin Kamara. Here's where my question comes in. So, needless to say, I think Jamal Williams is going to produce. I think they're going to like go away from the whole. If he's even still on the team, the whole Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
getting carries crap. Jamal Williams is a legitimate like runner. Like he's not like a washed freaking uh washed guy he was there before he came back. I don't know why the
Oh,
name
Mark
Ruben
Ingram.
Drones. Yeah, Mark Gang. I don't know why Ruben Drones. That was like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, Mark Ingram.
uh, he's not that. So what it makes me wonder about Kamara, I know as a Kamara owner, some people, and I mean, I know you got a close eye to everything. So, and even with Dallin, like the question always came about, like, why won't you guys split out Kamara and let him take on more of a role as a receiver in the offense, right? They weren't
Mhm.
doing that last year. So imagine if now you got Jamal Williams here taking half or most of the carries, and you're still not splitting Kamara out. Effectively, you're moving him to being a backup running back. So I mean, I'm gonna be really concerned if I'm the Kamara owner. Like if you don't have running back depth or he's your number one running back, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I think for me, it just says like, hey, we fully expect Kamara to get a suspension, like a hefty suspension,
Yes.
probably. Like that's what it's telling me because it's almost like they've front loaded some of the money to the first year, so it's like we're going to rely on Jamal Williams in 2023. That's what it says to me. So,
Yeah.
um, beyond that, I don't know, but at least it looks like this year, like Jamal's probably going to be the lead back for the New Orleans Saints, and I think that's a good thing for fantasy football value of Jamal Williams because he was kind of the lead back in Detroit, but you still had Swift coming in. If Kamara's suspended, it's Jamal Williams and nobody. Like nobody. So
Yeah.
Jamal Williams is going to get a decent amount, and he's playing with probably an equal offense as far as Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Derek Carr. It's probably equivalent to Amon Ra, and Jameson wasn't there half the year. Jameson wasn't there most of the year, but it's probably equivalent to Amon Ra, DJ Shark, and Jared Goff. It's probably just the same thing. So Jamal performed pretty well over there in Detroit. Imagine taking Swift out of the equation and putting him there in New Orleans. It might be. It might be. Is Jamal Williams have potential to be a top 12 running back this year?
It's possible.
It's
It's
possible.
possible.
It's possible. And you're not going to pay top 12 running back prices for him at this point.
No. No, you're not.
So
Like I mean,
if
the
you
more we
want to,
talk about, the more I'm wondering. Like, can I go out and get Jamal Williams? You know.
that's what I'm
So
thinking.
I
Cause
mean,
I'm like, how much do I have to pay to go get Jamal right now?
what
You
would you
could
pay for
probably,
Jamal in terms of draft compensation?
am I a contender? I'm assuming I'm a contender.
Yes.
As a contender, I'm willing to give a late second.
Hmm.
Like two
Even
eight, two
so,
nine, 210,
even
211, 212.
in this draft, in this draft, with the depth of running back, you would take, let's say you have 2.6. Are you trading
Mhm.
2.6 for Williams?
I'm going to try really hard not to,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to score you the amount of points this year that are rookies at that spot. I feel like Jamal's going to outscore a lot of those dudes. So if you're really looking for somebody who you think let's just say you're a contending team and you are a running back away or a couple pieces away, 2 or 3 pieces away, and you're like, who can I go get that's going to give me more production than they're worth? I'm trying to bargain hunt. Jamal Williams is somebody you could bargain hunt with because I really do think it sounds crazy, but I really do think that top 12, top 15 potential for Jamal Williams this year, that is probably where he's going to land if he stays healthy. And How many times can you go buy a top 12 running back for a mid to late second round pick? You can't.
Nah, yeah, nah, nah.
So if you're going to bargain hunt and you're going to take the gamble, it's a gamble for sure because the running back class is deep this year. But you're taking a gamble on a rookie anyways. So if
Yeah,
you're going to take a gamble, why not take a gamble on a guy you think can finish top 12, top 15?
truth. It's the truth.
So that's what I would that's where I would be at it. And now that you say that, hopefully nobody from our leagues is watching this today because
Yeah.
I'm gonna go try and land a Jamal Williams share in one of our leagues after this
Oh
episode.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
But let's finish out the running backs. There's no other significantly substantial contracts. Nobody else signed big contracts, but for some reason, the fourth highest paid running back in the whole free agent market so far has been James Robinson, and he went to the New England Patriots. So, how do you
Making
feel
that back.
about?
What Andrew, what did we talk about? Didn't we recently talk about this in a previous video about
Mhm.
Ramondre and New England, and we was ranking the running backs and we were giving our reasons for why Ramondre was so long lived. This is why.
Yep.
This
Yep.
is why.
I think who did we give them in our video? I want to say we gave them a decent back because we said that this was going to happen.
Could have been Miles Sanders or something. I can't remember.
I thought we gave him like Devin Singletary or something.
Yeah, yeah. Because he
Yeah,
looks like
so
Sony Michelle. So yeah, them kid kinda, yeah, that I can see that.
yeah, but he landed there. I don't think he's going to damage Ramondre Stevenson that much. I think honestly, um, he is a lesser version of Damian Harris. So in all honesty, what you got out of Ramondre last year, it's probably a slight upgrade for Ramondre at this point because James Robinson is a little bit less talented. And so um, this is fine, I think, for Ramondre. I don't think it's, but I think this is good for James Robinson because I think they're going to use him. So
Yeah.
if you have James Robinson, this is a decent landing spot. There probably wasn't much better than this case scenario for James Robinson.
Yeah, you can definitely put him on your bench, that's for sure.
And if Ramondre does get hurt this year, James Robinson's season is going to come back. I don't. It's going to be one of those things.
I don't know
Um,
why James Robinson's season like ended last. Like that was still like a weird. The whole thing with him was just weird to me. Like
because
they could have
Trevor
just
said you
kept that.
better start playing my boy.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just
Yeah,
like, dude, like they had a perfect complementary backfield, and they
whatever.
whatever.
But a couple more of the small ones is and how are you on time? Because this is looking like it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode today.
Yeah, I'm peaking. I'm peaking for sure.
All right, all right. Um, well, some other contracts was Pirine to the Broncos. Madison resigns and it goes to the Vikings. Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert go back to the Dolphins. Um, Mike Boone to the Texans. Travis Homer to the Bears. Uh, Dante Foreman to the Bears. Boston Scott to the Eagles. Rashad Penny to the Eagles. And then Chase Edmonds goes to the Buccaneers. So that's kind of the rest of the misfits at the running back position, so to speak.
Three of those stand out. Samaje Perine to Broncos for obvious reasons. He's
Yep.
there filling in until Javante gets healthy, which from all I'm hearing is that they're making it seem like Javante is going to roll out there week one. Like you
Nope.
said, you had doubts about that. So, but they're trying to definitely play it up as if it's going to happen. Um, then we had Rashad Penny to the Eagles. I like it. I would definitely have Rashad Penny on the team, but you know that you better have a backup running back ready to go, which I think is Kenneth Gainwell. I feel like they're in the territory to draft another running back because I just don't see Kenneth Gainwell. Knowing how injury prone Rashad Penny is, I can't see that they're comfortable with Kenneth Gainwell being, the main ball carrier if something happens to Penny. I just don't see it.
Mhm.
Um, and Deontay Foreman to the Bears, he's gonna be Khalil Herbert's backup. I don't see him as the starter. It's kind of weird that they even signed him. I wanted them to draft somebody, but I guess Khalil Herbert's young, so I mean, I guess why not give him a season to see what he can do?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty much the ones that stood out for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Penny one is interesting. Hopefully the people who are in my DMs asking me for Rashad Penny in the league aren't watching because I'm going to give my honest opinion here on him. Um, and the money that they paid Rashad Penny does not look like starter money to me. It's like 1 year, $1.5 million. Uh, so it does not look like starter money. I would not take Philly out of the equation of a Bijan or a Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft. I would not take them out of that
I agree.
equation. And so
I agree.
this might be a sell high window on Rashad Penny, to be honest. So I do want that to be noted. Sorry, but let's
If I
go
can move
to
Penny, we have him in the league. If I can move Penny for a second, which is going to be hard because I think you own all of them. Um, I think between me and you, we own all of the seconds.
yeah,
But if there's a second out there, a lonely second that's not owned by either of us, and somebody wants to get Penny from, I would offer him. I offer him for sure.
yeah,
But anything lower than that, I probably would just be comfortable just letting him chill on my bench.
yeah. I agree because I think when he does play, he's going to be solid. It's just a matter of how much can you get out of him. I don't know, but when he does
I
play,
might
he'll be
try to
solid.
move him for Khalil Herbert.
That's not a bad move. Um,
But I think Tyson might have Khalil Herbert, so
yeah, he's high on him.
so
But for what it's worth, Tyson is very high on Rashad Penny too. So uh, it depends on who he's higher on. I don't know.